Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today will be the 50 subscriber special called Why Am I Not Perfect? By me, written by me, and is on my AO3. If you're sensitive to emotional manipulation, I would suggest to click off this video now. Anyway, I hope you enjoy and thank you for watching in advance. Izuku was tired, but that was starting to become normal these days. Endlessly working hard just for him to be overlooked. He wanted things to go back to the way they used to be, even if he had to be quirkless, but Izuku Midoriya was too far into things to just give up now. However, he wasn't sure just how much more stress he could handle in his day-to-day life. Izuku's days looked a little like this. Izuku would wake up at 5 AM, do quirk training by himself until 6 AM, train with All Might until 8 AM, before quickly having a shower and running to school, where school starts at 8:30. School usually started a bit earlier for the hero students than the other students at UA because of their hero studies. Then after class, then having to go through her room and 6 other classes throughout the day, with at least one of them being hero course related, Izuku didn't really mind the schoolwork. He could do that every day forever. But after school, he would call his mother on his way back to the dorms while doing more quirk training by holding one for all at the highest percentage he could manage without breaking his bones, which right now was 31%. His mother would often ask him why his voice sounded so strained whenever he calls her, but Izuku would blame that on the long hard day of hero work that he and his classmates would have to do every day. Once Izuku gets off the phone with his mother, he's normally back at the dorms where he analyzes his classmates on where they could improve. He originally started doing it for the Deku Squad after the second villain attack at the summer camp, but after the small group had started to improve rapidly, his other classmates started to ask him to do theirs too, and Izuku, being unable to say no to anyone, accepted them all, except for Bakugo, of course. That team would never ask for help if he could help it. At about 5 o'clock, Izuku would go and help Eri with her quirk training, and having Aizawa tag along with him to cancel Eri's quirk if it went haywire again. It would be about 9 PM when Eri would have to go to bed, and Izuku would go back to the dorms to eat his only meal of the day before doing all his homework, which would take him until 1 AM to make sure he did everything perfectly, before going to sleep and doing it all over again. As far as Izuku could tell, this has been going through the cycle for a little over a month at this intensity. He started to wonder if this is what All Might did when he was in UA. If he wanted to curl up into a ball and escape the endless pattern of trying to live up to everyone's expectations and having it just be out of reach. Izuku shakes his head as he gets up for the day, realizing that he had spent the last 10 minutes in bed thinking through today's agenda. That was 10 minutes too long, according to him. 10 minutes that he could have spent being a better hero, a better person. As Izuku takes off his pajama top, he looks at the scars that litter his arms and chest. Memories of both One For All and his middle school days come back to him. Izuku finally manages to tear his eyes away from his scarred body as he quickly gets changed into a pair of loose track pants, a black t-shirt with a hoodie that says pants. Even though Izuku knew the chances of bumping into anyone were small, if that were by chance happen, Izuku didn't want to look lazy in front of anyone. After all, wasn't the goal of being a hero to be perfect? At first, even with Izuku's love of heroes, he thought that no one could be perfect, not even a hero. But then All Might came along. All Might had been slowly pushing his ideals onto Izuku from the start, but Izuku, being the socially clueless person he was, didn't pick up on it. Even at this very moment, he didn't think anything the former number one hero was doing was wrong. Izuku, now reaching the ground floor of the building, walks out of the elevator as he steps in walks as he cringes as he steps out of the elevator. He cringes at his ankles cracking with each movement. However, he knew there was little he could do to stop it, so he just tries to ignore it. Little did he know his homeroom teacher was in the kitchen making himself coffee because he had used up the last of the teacher's dorm coffee last night before he went on patrol. Aizawa's hands stops hovering above the coffee jug as he hears the elevator chime, shortly followed by a loud cracking of ankles. The man was tempted to chalk it up to his sleep-deprived brain, but he knows that when it comes to his problem children, anything could happen with them. So he walks out the kitchen into the connected lounge room, where getting within eye shot of whoever dared to wake up this early. Aizawa's eyes widen as he sees his main problem child barely awake with massive bags under his eyes. Problem child? The older one said, voice riddled with confusion. Midoriya didn't register that anyone was talking to him, so he continued to walk to the kitchen to make a cup of coffee for himself. Izuku's homeroom teacher stands there bewildered, standing in place as his problem child walks by him, brushing shoulders with the man. The brush between him and his teacher's shoulders wakes him up, and Izuku looks behind him to see his teacher staring right back at him. "Oh, Aizawa-sensei, sorry for bumping into you," Midoriya says in a shocked tone before quickly running to the kitchen to make himself some coffee. As much as Aizawa would like to ignore this and go back to sleep and hopefully get a few hours in before class started, he would get a lecture from Nezu about the students' health and safety if he didn't. He really wasn't going to get paid enough. He wasn't getting paid enough for this, which is how he justified his concern. With the adult walking into the kitchen, he sees Midoriya standing, leaning against the countertops next to the coffee jug. "Would you like to tell me why you're awake so early, problem child?" Aizawa could see the boy stop breathing for a moment before taking a deep breath and facing his teacher. "I just get up at this time every morning, sensei," Izuku says with a cheery voice, but Aizawa could tell the boy was faking it. As Aizawa sighed, the teen's face flashed with worry, quickly covering it up, but Aizawa still saw it. "I'll talk to you after class about it. I'm too tired to talk about this now," Aizawa said as Izuku's face flashed with worry once again. This time the boy wasn't able to cover it up as quickly. As the boy regained his composure, he tried to get himself out of the situation. "Sensei, I'm afraid you won't be able to talk to me about whatever you want after class because I have some things to take care of." Izuku takes a deep breath before continuing. "For example, today I need to call my mother after class, then a few other things before I help Eri with her quirk training," he said in a hurry, like the words would disappear from the universe if he didn't say them fast enough. This made Aizawa worry. Much as he would like to say that he didn't have a soft spot for his class, this was just one of the very many examples people could use to prove him wrong. The man sighs as he walks over to Midoriya and looks him in the eyes. There was something about this whole situation that didn't sit right with Aizawa. His student looked at him in the eyes, laced with both worry and confusion. As the boy was about to speak, his teacher got in before him. "I can't help you if you don't talk to me about what's wrong. You won't be in trouble if that's what you're worrying about. I just want to make sure you're okay." As he sees Azuku's eyes widen, he knows he's on the right track. "You can talk to me about anything, problem child." Aizawa's voice softens as he takes a step back from the boy. Izuku thinks about it for a moment before he decides on asking his teacher a question. "Aizawa-sensei, do you need to be perfect to be a hero?" the boy asks with a timid voice as Aizawa eyes the boy. "What do you mean by perfect?" the man questions, looking at him with a new facial expression that the boy couldn't read. He pauses for a minute before answering the question. I mean that. Did you have to do everything for everyone and be perfectly happy while doing it? Did you have to train your quirk for even outside of class for hours on end each day? Did you have the responsibility of saving the world? Zuko stopped himself before he shared any more of his and All Might's secret. Aizawa looked at him, a clear expression of worry on his face, urging the boy to continue. Figured I said anything, Sensei, Midoriya says in a hurry as he abandons the idea of making a morning coffee, trying to make his way to one of the gyms. Aizawa stops the boy before he can even get out of the building by wrapping his capture scarf around the boy. Aizawa sighs before he starts talking. Izuku Midoriya, you will tell me what's going on, understood? The boy freezes at the voice of his teacher. He didn't think the man in front of him had ever used such a stern voice before, and frankly, it terrified him. All you need to do is watch my training session with All Might this morning, is all the boy said as he looked at the clock on the lounge room wall. Shit, Sensei, I need to get to All Might, Izuku said as he started squirming around. Aizawa sighs as he lets the boy down and watched the boy run out the door. He was going to figure out what was wrong with his problem child, and if All Might was making him worse, the man would never let him forget about it. As Izuku ran out of the dorms, his legs felt numb, something that had been happening more and more lately. Was All Might working him too hard? Izuku quickly shook off the thought as he continued running. All Might would never do anything bad to him. As Midoriya saw the training grounds that he and All Might usually trained at, he saw his mentor with a scowl on his face, one that never meant well for Izuku. Izuku finally made his way to the point All Might wanted him to be at as he rested his weight of his body on his knees as he bent down slightly. You're late, Toshinori said in a harsh tone. I'm sorry, Aizawa-sensei was in the dorms and he was questioning why I was awake so early, and I couldn't get him to let me go any sooner, Midoriya explained in desperation. He didn't want another training session where he would be late for class. Toshinori grabbed the boy's head by his chin before slapping him across the face. You need to be perfect, the man yelled at him. I'm starting to regret ever giving you my quirk, he said in a slightly softer voice in case anyone was around. I'm sorry, All Might, Izuku said in desperation to not lose his quirk. All Might sighed and looked at him before smirking. If you're really sorry, you'll be able to use 40% of One for All by Friday, the man said before stepping back from the boy. Izuku looked at the man in shock as he comprehended what he'd just said. But All Might, I'm only at 31% and it's Tuesday, the teen cried out. The retired pro hero just shook his head as he frowned. I'm only doing what's the best for the world. If All for One were to come tomorrow, would you be able to defeat him? Midoriya stayed quiet for a few seconds before shaking his head. Izuku knew he couldn't, and All Might was right. But he tried so hard to make his quirk his own. He tried so hard for so long, he wouldn't give it back, he decided. He would live up to All Might's reputation. Just as he was about to speak up to tell All Might he would do it, he heard ruffling from behind him, from behind the bushes that were less than 10 meters away. The two in the open turned to face the person emerging from the shadows. So this is what you meant, problem child? Aizawa asked as All Might looked at Izuku. You told him? Toshinori saw red. The one thing that he wasn't supposed to talk about, he had just told his teacher. That wasn't good news. I see why you thought you had to be the perfect hero training under him, Shota Aizawa said with venom in his voice as he came closer to the two, slowly leading his problem child away from the former number one hero. You're safe now, kid. I promise. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe, and be sure to check out more videos on my channel. If you want to read the written version of this book on AO3, just search up my YouTube name on AO3, and it'll come up with this work. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!